So someone asked me, why did the Supreme Court choose not to accept Kim Davis's same-sex marriage case today? And we don't know because they didn't give a reason. But I explained in August this summer, 2025, why I thought the Supreme Court would not accept the case. So rather than state it again twice, I am just going to replay what I said in that video. It's pretty long, so if you have patience, you can listen to it on 2x if you don't have time to listen to it, you want to hear it fast, or you can just listen to it at the snail's pace that I go over it. But it's right here, and I'm going to play it after this little intro. And so this is one of my wins in terms of my predictions columns. You're keeping track. That goes in my I predicted that correctly column. All right, JJ Legal, each one teach one. Share this video so more people know. So a lot of people have asked me to give my opinion on whether or not I believe the United States Supreme Court will accept the writ of certiorari or request to hear the case of an appeal of Kim Davis, who is the Kentucky County Clerk who in 2015 denied a marriage license to a gay couple. And because of her denial, she was jailed for 6 days, ordered to pay $100,000 fine, and to pay the $260,000 legal bill of the couple that had to sue her, or just for her defiance of the state law. Now, here's the reason why I do not think that the Supreme Court's going to take up the case. And before I talk about that, you should know that there's about close to 1 million same-sex marriages in the United States right now, about over 800,000. And even if the Supreme Court were to overrule it, which I don't think this is an issue right now, those marriages won't be voided, because there is a law in 2022 called the Respect Marriage Act, where Congress says that you recognize all marriages no matter where it was given. So for example, if someone was married in Hawaii and they later moved to Texas, that the Texas government must acknowledge and give them all the rights of all other marriage couples, even though in Texas it isn't recognized in Texas. But once you're married, you're married. So that aside, this case is not going to affect already existing marriages. But I still do not think the Supreme Court is going to take it up, and here are the reasons why. She was jailed and fined based on violations of state law, so she needs to appeal based on state law. She's appealing saying her First Amendment rights were violated. But take that to the state. Why is that a federal issue? Supreme Court hears usually constitutional issues, federal issues. There's no federal constitutional issue here. Second of all, there's no dispute. The Supreme Court hears cases, what's called cases or controversy. Case of controversy means that there's a split in the circuits, meaning there's some courts that say one thing, some circuits that say the other thing. It's a mishmash. And so the Supreme Court would take up a case where they need to be the final arbiter. So we're going to decide once and for all. So there's one law. So you don't have to pick and, say the law applies here in this jurisdiction, this other jurisdiction, it's different thing, especially when it's a federal thing. Again, that gets back to her case isn't federal. It's unique to her. It's unique to her state. So it's not really an issue really for the Supreme Court, to be honest. Now, there is no case of controversy because there's no judges, no courts that have ever taken up her case. Since she got fined, that's been the end of it. She's appealed several different times at different courts. No one's taking it. So there's no case of controversy. There's no split in decision. There's no conflict in courts. So that's another reason. Second reason why they most likely won't take it. A third reason, I'm hearing through the tea leaves and reports you might have seen that Amy Coney Barrett, Neil Gorsuch, and Brett Kavanaugh, which are the three of the conservative justices, aren't interested in taking this case up. That's not, they don't have an appetite for it right now. So without them, it makes it hard for her to accept that appeal. And they make a decision to confer, or the judges get together in the fall and confer and decide what cases they're going to hear. If they decide the oral arguments would happen next year, 2026, the decision would come out next summer, 2026. But given that those three don't have an appetite for it, it's not looking good. So that's the third. So there's a lot of stacking of reasons why they more likely won't take it. And then another reason I think they won't necessarily take it is because it's not a straight up case. It's not cut and dry. It really is just related to her in the state case. It's not it's not tight enough. And you know what I mean? I do hear that there's a couple of religious groups that feel like because Trump is who he is and he's doing what he's doing, and it seems like the entire nation, polling data says that since 2020, it's been stagnant in terms of like conservative Republicans or Americans' appetite for feeling, accepting of marriage, gay marriage rights. It hasn't moved since 2020. That was the George Floyd era. And since then, I feel like the nation has become more right-leaning, more conservative. And by the nation, I mean the people who vote. The people who voted Donald Trump into office. If you're passive, you didn't vote. If you protested, vote. If you didn't feel comfortable voting for a black woman, if you were a leftist and you sat it out, then you gave up, you yielded your power and authority. And so we are experiencing the tyranny of the minority. There's 22% of the nation is MAGA. 32% of the electorate is what voted Donald Trump in. But the 70-something% let them do it. So they're in power. They're in charge. And they rule now. So if people change their mind and decide, okay, we messed up, that's great. But right now, with the appetite being the way it is, people feel like now is the time for them to appeal. And it's still too ripe. It's not ready yet. It's not the better case. It's not a good test case. So even though she did cite Chief Justice Roberts, who dissented in the Obergefell. I should mention Obergefell is the case that reaffirmed the 14th Amendment right that says marriage equality, gay marriage is protected by the 14th Amendment. So this is the challenge to that case. And there is some folks who feel like there's an appetite for it now, but I think it's not right because it's not a clean-cut case. And for all the reasons I gave before, I'm not sure, but you never can tell. So I don't know what will happen. No one can tell. No one can predict because they're unpredictable, and who knows. But that's just my opinion based on my understanding, me reading other people, the polls, what other legal analysts have said, reading the articles. It doesn't seem like this is a case that they're going to take up yet. Similar, which is different from the voting rights case where there is a conflict. You have the Eighth Circuit Court of Appeals saying one thing and trying to be the law of the land, and you have the district courts in Alabama and Louisiana saying different things. So it's just a mishmash patch, and the Supreme Court wants to be the one to say we're going to make the final say. And they may not want, the people who decided to take it was like, we don't want the Eighth Circuit Court of Appeals to be the law of the land because they're not the Supreme Court. And that's the whole thing with the stopping the nationwide injunctions. They blocked nationwide injunctions because this court wants them, they and they only to be the supreme land. They don't want these little district courts making nationwide decisions because they said that's our job as the Supreme Court. So that's what that was coming from. And then also, so if that's consistent with that, that's also why they would not take this case up yet, because it hasn't percolated to the bottom yet. There has not been any like different cases. She hasn't won, then have an appeal, and then a conflict. Even if she won and someone appealed, and then that would be a reason. But she hasn't even passed stage 1 yet. So you're trying to get up here, and you haven't passed stage 1 yet. So definitely for that reason, it's not right yet, and it doesn't compare to something like the Voting Rights Act where there is a conflict. So anyway, so that's why I don't think that the Supreme Court is going to accept the Obergefell case. But of course, you never know. And I'm out of the prediction business. A lot of the stuff they've done this past few months, I've never predicted that they would do. So they threw me off, and I said a whole bunch of stuff earlier on that I had to eat crow and be like, yeah, I didn't think this was going to happen the way it is. So anyway, that's it. I hope that's helpful for you. If you have any questions, let's discuss below. I'm having a live office hours tomorrow. I got to go see when it is because I did a poll for my members. So if you're a member of the membership community, join. It's going to be a private link on YouTube, I think. So join me then. If not, no, membership has its privileges. If not, see you in the next video. Bye. Each one teach one. Share this video. Let's talk below. JJ Legal.